Mamma Mia 3.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to do it.
I do.
They're doing it.
I know, but are they?
It's so great to see you because this movie is so good. I went into it cold, didn't really know what the story was gonna be. And I made the assumption, hey, social network, but dating, and came out of it thinking with a whole different vibe. Can you tell us what this movie is trying to say?
Well, it's interesting you say that because I had a similar experience when I read the script. I really didn't know a huge amount about, our movie is about Whitney Wolfe Herd.
Yeah.
It's inspired by her real life story. She is the visionary founder that created Bumble. And the movie tracks her from just leaving college, this like young woman entering into the tech space, a very male dominated space, still is. And she kind of is a part of not one, but two of these huge dating apps that explode on the scene, Tinder and then Bumble. And we track her experience in all the highs and the lows that she goes through on her way to becoming one of the youngest self-made billionaires and the youngest woman at that time to take a company public.
I have to say, having had a career in many industries for almost 30 years, many elements of this story were very triggering for me.
Yeah.
And that is not like the compliment because you nailed it.
Yeah.
You and the team nailed it.
Thank
it felt
you.
very real.
Yeah.
Microaggressions, inequality, having credit stolen from you, harassment. In your research and preparation for this, could you relate to these realities?
Yeah, I mean, Whitney's story is sadly not a singular one in terms of so many women on our set even, or a part of our team of brilliant, formidable women actually that made this. We were all discussing amongst ourselves all the time our own experiences, why it meant so much, why we felt it was a very important story to tell. But I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a woman that hasn't had similar experiences, especially if you are in a very male-centric workplace and you know, exploring the many ways that women can be silenced and are silenced. We all had to sort of link arms and go into this together, and knowing and feeling like we were telling a story that mattered and hopefully provoking conversations and at the same time celebrating this formidable story about such a inspiring woman.
I also think the film does a great job of showing us the performative male. The guy who says that he's a feminist and then doesn't recognize harassment when it's staring in front of him and won't support a woman who's being harassed. When you read that in the script, what was your reaction?
I mean, obviously I was deeply moved by this story. It spoke to me on a very deep level, and I felt really, you know, we had really brilliant actors, I've got to say, like how everyone embodied their roles and were fearless in bringing these characters to the screen and being, you know, committing to this story. I felt very like safe and held in that group of actors. But it's we explore really tough themes and issues and try to do it with as much kind of integrity and authenticity as possible.
And part of that is showing that Whitney isn't perfect. That in our world that's been shaped by misogyny, there is conditioning and women are included in that. And she makes mistakes and she has to confront her blind spots. Can you talk about, you know, making sure that she's not an angel?
You know, it's really interesting because this isn't a documentary, right? This is a film. This is inspired, a dramatization of Whitney's story. And so I felt like I had to really step into these shoes and bring my own self, you know, my imagination, and really embody this story with bravery. And I felt it was really, really important, even though I don't know exactly what went on, to imagine what it's like. And I actually worked with this amazing acting coach who said to me, you can't win every scene as a lead character. You've got to show those rough edges. You've got to show the growth. You've got to show how challenging moments, what that brings out in us as a human. And I wanted that to be messy and real and raw. And all of that is in service of showing this to me, just the most inspiring woman who achieved so much and with such courage, like things that would cripple most people, she then used to create something good. And that message to me is so important and inspiring. And we wanted to make the characters feel really full and multidimensional. And that took our artistic leaps and license to kind of bring that to the screen.
Look, we're dealing with some very serious issues here, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun. And there are elements of fun in the movie too, and especially with the sisterhood. You know, Whitney and Tisha's relationship goes through its ups and downs, but there is friendship chemistry there. So let's talk about what goes into creating friendship chemistry.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that, because through all my research, learning about the tech startup world at that time, you know, it was wild. It was this explosion of these apps, and these kids were running it. They were sort of, and the speed, it's described online, a lot of these tech entrepreneurs with these huge companies, it's like a rocket ship. It just goes and you are off. And so cultivating that with a group of young actors and imagining what it would be like to have just left college.
Yeah.
And we have the keys to the kingdom in this way, and to be like revolutionizing how we date, how we meet online, how we flirt, how we interact. You know, it was a very kind of ripe and kind of visceral energy for us all to play in and bring out all that camaraderie and that friendship and these once in a lifetime experiences. And you know, and we really wanted to capture the peaks and the troughs in the film in terms of like these like top of the mountain glory, triumphant moments, and then what happens if that falls and flips the other way? What is the dark side of these stories too? And so
kind of like dating.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like it is kind of like the excitement. Listen, I missed out on online and app dating. I've been married for a long time, but I've seen it. You know, it went from something that was, no one wanted to admit that they met their person on a dating app to, it is very normal. It's standard. What is your experience with in this world?
Yeah. Well, my brother met his wife on a dating app, so thank goodness for that. So Jen Gibgot, our producer, had been developing this film for 7 years, had met her partner on Bumble. One of the reasons I think she was inspired to tell this story. So yeah, I mean, like dating apps are the way. It is part of the fabric of how we meet people now, and it just is what it is. And what I was particularly kind of, maybe we've touched on this, but moved on or inspired by with Whitney was that she decided, like, how do I re-engineer these these outdated gender dynamics? Like, how do I put women in the driver's seat? How do I make women safe in this? So I spent a lot of time on my friend's phone, on her Bumble, just would steal her phone and be...
I've done the same thing.
Yeah. But I missed them too myself. So, you know, I wasn't drawn to this film because it was about dating apps, because really they kind of passed me by in a way. But this is, you know, this echoes across all industries as we've been talking about what we're really exploring. But it was really fun leaning into the dating app world and like all the horror stories and all the, you know, and the success stories. I mean, there's like Bumble babies, Bumble weddings. It has such huge impact.
It's also like diving into the sort of explosion, like, you know, when the dating app sort of ascended, and also the look of the era.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, so ballet flats and the
skinny jeans.
And the fashion of the industry, so of the time. So what would you bring back from the fashion of that era? Like, what outfit do you really enjoy?
You know what? We had an amazing costume designer, Beth Morgan, because I walked into my first costume fitting and I was like, this isn't going to be a good era for me. I remember this. I remember this time, and it wasn't good for me then, and it's not going to be good for me now. But she did such a good job at making it feel so authentic and that retro feel from that time, but giving it an edge and making it cool. They did a great job on the music too. We were always battling with the music, because I was like, but I want a really good tune. And then it was hard to find some of the tracks. We were really loyal to the time period. Yeah. But we had a lot of fun recreating that time. It's not long ago, but it feels we've progressed so much, particularly in technology. So what did I had some great outfits as Whitney Wolfe. We recreated some of her iconic looks, especially as she progressed into her like entrepreneurial kind of powerhouse status.
I like that you're modeling that too
I'm
now.
going for the power suit. We're in tune.
Yes, I am wearing something to do with business. Yeah. For this movie, what do you hope that people will take away from it?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I think that we have as individuals have great power to shape culture, and that's what Whitney did. I think one of the things I was most drawn to in her as a character was this kind of undeniable life force, and I think one of the messages to me that is that those things that happen to you that you think are the darkest moment in your life and the toughest trial, if you can use that and kind of transform that energy into your life's mission, I'm going to change that. I'm going to figure that out for myself, turn it into something good, and actually help other people. It's a kind of a superpower. So I think to kind of go for what you believe in and hustle and work hard and yeah.
Well, before I let you go, Mamma Mia 3.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to do it.
I do.
They're doing it.
I know, but are they? Yeah, they're doing it. I'm absolutely devastated.
So
I've had no phone call. I know.
Or you just said if you want something,
you
go
gotta
for
go.
it.
I'm gonna call out Judy Kramer and like belt out an ABBA song down the phone to her. No, I had the time of my life doing that. I just saw Amanda; she was here, and you know what? I'd be happy for a new kind of generation or wave of actors, like to pass on the mantle to them because it was a gift. So I'm happy to share.
Congratulations on this role and on your performance. I thought you were incredible, like from the highs and also the lows. I think you really were able to convey what it would have been like for somebody to be having things stolen from them and silenced. And
Well, I'm so happy to hear your reaction and to have this conversation with you. So thank you.
Yeah, we were slamming doors for a while when we were watching the movie. Like my producer and I, it was, I think I ran out of my office saying, he gaslit her again. So yes, it was very, very real.
Oh, good, because I really, I think cinema and art fulfill so many different sort of roles in how, but to make something that feels provocative and to spark something that kind of can, make people think differently or think about their behavior. Or to me, that's just, I feel so lucky to be a part of something like that. So thank you.